Hi, welcome to the Recovery Daily podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abasi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. And guess what? I come here every day, right? For the most part, I come here every day. I talk about topics that are very pertinent to my recovery. I talk about topics that people reach out to me and say, that really made sense to me. That really validated how I've been feeling. Um, I've had people celebrate their sobriety anniversaries with me, feeling that I contributed to their sobriety. And yet, are you ready for this? And yet, I continue to think that I'm not good enough at this podcast thing. Isn't that interesting? It's interesting because I can feel like a failure when I'm actually very successful at what I'm trying to do. It's like I make a goal, I succeed at that goal, and then I start building these stretch goals that I either can't reach or I don't put in the effort to reach. And then I feel like I have failed. Um, it's fascinating to me. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to talk about failure and how sometimes I feel like a failure when I'm actually very much making small successes. And the reading today in my morning meeting was from emotional sobriety, and that's what this is. It's hard. I was thinking this morning about when I was first going to sobriety meetings and how I would leave there and go to 7-Eleven and pick up wine on the way home. And then it just completely negated any feeling of success that I went to a meeting because I drank after the meeting and therefore I failed. So, why do I feel like I'm failing at this podcast thing? Because after my meetings, I go ahead and record without getting all duded up, without putting on makeup, without doing my hair. Um, I feel like I fail in the entertainment factor where I'm not just making people laugh and, have this extreme wit. Uh, there are times that we laugh together, you and I, but a lot of this is serious, I guess. And then I feel like, oh, well, I have failed at keeping people's interest. My followers, listeners have been increasing, and yet I will focus on a number in the analytics that shows that I'm not that good. It's just something that feels innate in me that I so easily look past a success and look at some sort of misstep, mistake, or place where I have failed so that I can feel like absolute failure. Um, I guess it's that default feeling within me that I want to change. Sorry, I just got a big tickle in my throat. that I just default to depression. I default to feeling self-pity, feeling sorry for myself, that I'm not good enough, I'm not doing well enough. And what the reading talked about today is not focusing on success and failure, but instead focusing on honesty and effort. And I really like that. Um, it's like if life does not go as I plan it, as I try to control it to go, then I have failed. When really I had no control over which way some thing would have gone, which direction it would have gone. Um, it's similar to this desire to have validation, to hear "atta girls," you know? And if I don't hear somebody tell me I'm so proud of you over a certain period of time, if I don't get some kind of "atta girl," if I don't get some kind of "I'm proud of you, look how far you've come," then I start feeling like I'm not doing good enough. It's like I count success by what kind of feedback I'm getting from other people. And honestly, I heard this in, I guess, like close to the first year, the end of my first year of sobriety, or I guess closer to like 18 months of sobriety, when we get to that point where we start getting our chips, our sobriety tokens once a year instead of every month. And we are putting into practice the principles of the program in all of our affairs so steadily that I stopped getting at a girls. And then I recognize that, wait, I'm just doing life the way that non-alcoholics are doing it. And I need to stop expecting at a girl for doing things the right way, doing the next right thing. I can't expect to be congratulated whenever I get out of bed when I don't feel good. But that's what I want. I only feel successful if I am acknowledged, right? I only feel successful quite often if I'm the best. Um, and I guess what has struck me in the past couple days is, and you're gonna laugh at me. I mean, I'm sure this episode, like how I started off, sounds ridiculous. I know it does, but I'm just being honest with what happens inside my head. This need to beat myself up, this need to tell myself that you're not doing good enough. You need to go to your AA meetings and then get up, take a shower, get dressed, put on your makeup, curl your hair, and then record. The issue with that is, number one, I don't feel like it. Okay, that's probably not number one, but that's the first thing that comes to mind. But what comes to mind following that in the same breath is I don't think the podcast would be as good if I took a shower, got all ready, and then I've lost that intensity of the ideas that have gone through my head in my meetings in the morning. That's one of the reasons why I like recording after my meetings, because I've really got a lot of thoughts that have been dug up from the meetings. I used to record in the evening, And I stopped doing that because I was staying up too late. So I was trying to get myself to go to bed earlier. And what I found is doing this in the morning, um, really, I don't know, it kind of brings all of my meetings full circle and allows me to um, put together a cohesive thought or theme for the episode, but that ends up being a cohesive and complete theme for my day. And so early, before I actually was able to put any sort of sober time together, I was going to meetings and going to the 7-Eleven and picking up a drink, right? And I felt like a failure. Um, I felt like every time I stopped and got that wine, I was so afraid that somebody was going to see me. And maybe they did. I have no idea. I certainly wasn't hiding it enough because the 7-Eleven was like right down the street from the meeting. Um, and then I lost my train of thought, and that's okay. We're allowed to do that here. Um, I felt like a failure, but really what that was my disease. And the reason why I felt like a failure was because I hadn't gotten to the point where I admitted complete powerless over alcohol. And that was not recognizing that I had the disease. Um, and that's just what it looked like for me. I kept coming back to meetings. Um, I think because I had that feeling of failure that just kept sitting in the back of my mind. Um, I wasn't able to be gentle with myself, but I kept showing up and I would just be trembling when I was showing up. Um, it was like failure made me tremble. Uh, I was feeling like I was failing and I was trembling through it. Yet those feelings of failure were actually exactly what needed to happen in my life in order for me to be where I am today. Um, so they were successes in a weird way that were necessary in order for me to get to this healthy place that I am right now, comparatively. Um, one thing that was said over and over this morning is that successes and failures are both temporary. And I think that that is, I don't know what I feel about that. I mean, they are. It's not like they're permanent, but they build on each other. And when I kept going back to the 7-Eleven and getting wine after a meeting, that failure was speaking to me and telling me that I'm an absolute failure. And so, absolute failure means that I continue to fail and that I was going to continue to fail. So, although temporary, the feeling of failure speaks very loudly to me. It makes me feel like I can't do it. I didn't do it this time, so I can never do it. And success, I think, is also this message that I can do it and I can probably do the next thing too. So when I heard that this morning, success and failure are both temporary, I didn't like it. I didn't like hearing that because I don't think that they are meaningless. It's like feelings are temporary. They are temporary. If I'm happy, I'm not going to be happy forever. But the more that I can feed my happiness, the more I'm going to feel it. Temporary seems to insinuate that it is not as impactful. And so I don't really care for that word, temporary. Um, when I was going out and drinking, relapsing, I don't even know it was called relapsing. I never actually stayed sober so long enough to relapse. But when I kept drinking, I felt like I'm just not good enough. I'm, I just had so much terrible self-talk, and I didn't feel like I deserved to be happy. Um, I didn't think that happiness was reserved for me. Um, and I do. Today, I do believe that I deserve to be happy just as much as the next person. And when I'm sitting in a meeting and I hear somebody say that they relapsed, I want to say to you, you deserve to be happy too. You don't see that right now, but you deserve to be happy as much as I do. And that trickles, that message ripples out across this massive number of people that suffer from alcoholism. If we are able to talk about how we did it and that we used to feel the same way you do, um, then it shows that recovery is possible, happiness is possible, which translates to I used to feel like I was not worthy of happiness, and now I feel like I am. And that is that it's not temporary, it is a cause and effect type of deal. So, one of the questions I wrote down for myself is what makes you feel like a winner today? Somebody mentioned that this morning. Anytime I don't pick up a drink, I feel like a winner today. But I would be lying if I said that that's the only thing that I weigh my feelings of worthiness on. It's not just not picking up a drink anymore. It's I want to not pick up a drink and I want to work on my book. I want to not pick up a drink and I want to teach my dogs agility. I haven't talked to you guys about that yet, but that's a thing. That's a new thing that's happening. Um, and I'll talk about that when I actually start doing it. But so yesterday, that's what one of the many things I wanted to do was I wanted to practice some cute little agility exercises with my dogs. Yes, both dogs. Even Chubby Boris is going to do it too. And I didn't get to do that yesterday because I didn't feel well enough. I also didn't do yoga yesterday because I didn't feel well enough. Was I a failure yesterday? There's a part of me that feels like that. Part of me feels like I failed yesterday because I didn't do everything that I set out to do yesterday. I even told you guys about it, but I walked for the first time since I left my job. I walked 2 miles with my dog. Um, and that impacted my vision and my head so much that I had to sleep in the afternoon. But do I acknowledge that? Do I tell myself, I mean, you did it. You did it. Well, when I first finished, I did. When I first finished, I was like, you did it. I mean, you have been wanting to walk around this entire, I don't know, it's more than a, I don't want to say block because that's what I have been walking. This is like, it's just this whole big connected path around the outside of my neighborhood. And it's exactly 2 miles. And when we first moved here, I was running that 2 miles. And now I've gotten to the point where I'm I've been trying to get to the point for 2 years to be able to walk that 2 miles. And I did yesterday. Um, I was struggling in the end. I was walking really, really slow. Um, but I did it. And I feel like when I laid down to take a nap that I didn't want to take, because I wanted to do the other things that I had set out to do, like yoga and doing agility with the dogs, I thought to myself, it's probably good that you have done so much that you need to take a nap because that means you pushed yourself today. Um, but after I woke up from my nap, did I feel like a failure? Yes. It's like it's a constant battle in my head about what did I do versus what I didn't do. And I can't be well as long as that truly well, mentally, if I can let that battle continue inside my head. Um, so how do I stop it? How do I stop that battle from happening inside my head? Um, talk about it. That's it. I have to talk about it. As soon as I talk about it, then I have let it go. And by talking about it, I remove the power that it has over me. I remove that that cause and effect thing. I observe what's happening. I observe the battle. I observe the emotions that are linked to that. But talking about it is a really powerful way of shifting from a failure mindset to a success mindset. And as I mentioned earlier, where was I honest and where was the effort? That's what I was told this morning is more important to focus on. And if I look at that instead, I was honest with myself that the 2 mile walk affected me. It triggered my symptoms a lot. And I need to be honest with myself, honest with my husband, and and if I am, then I can acknowledge that I need to take a break today. I can't go out and walk 2 miles again today. Um, was the effort there? Yeah. I I turned off my wanter. I got dressed in my old workout, cold day workout clothes, and I just did the next right thing, which was I stepped out the door with my dog, and I think she had a wonderful time. We hadn't what she even remembered which sidewalks we're supposed to turn on and stuff. It was pretty cute. So I know that she was happy to be out there too. So the fact that I didn't do agility yesterday, it's okay because I did get my dogs involved in other stuff. I don't know if the chubby one got much of a workout yesterday, did you? He's on my lap right now. He doesn't care. He's stretching, snoring, and sleeping. Um, so really that idea of failure as I reflect on yesterday is diminishing as I talk to you about it. And one other thing that happened yesterday, I made dinner yesterday and we got this new Le Creuset pot and it's called a tagine and it's a Moroccan um dish and pot. Like they're both named the same thing, tagine. So I made this. It was absolutely lovely. It was like chicken thighs with onion and carrots and apricots and chickpeas. And it's a Moroccan kind of spice. So you end up really I don't know, you put the tagine lid on and it slow cooks for about 45 minutes. It was amazing. But it wasn't done until 7:10 p.m. last night. And we like to eat at like 5:30 or so. So, what did I feel like? I mean, the dish was delicious, but I failed at getting it ready early. And that's doesn't have anything to do with my husband. He's like overjoyed that I'm doing it, that I'm making dinner. But I have these feelings of not being good enough because yeah, the dish was great, but I didn't have it ready in time. In time, I mean, that's in my own head. I've created this time that I need to be done. Was I honest and put forth the effort? Honestly, no, I did not get started earlier, and I knew that I needed to, but I was just feeling tired from the 2 mile walk. But all of that is it's an example of this self-talk that's so negative and doesn't celebrate the successes so much. And um there are just feelings of self-pity where that is involved. So today I am going to do yoga, and that is my goal for today. I would like to do agility, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. It's just a small little thing that I'll talk to you about once I actually get started with it. So anyway, that's what I've got for you today. So thanks so much for listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.